Hey everybody, I'm Paste Magazine TV editor Allison Keene here with our editor-in-chief Josh Jackson, and we're talking the TV Power Rankings, the top 10 shows of the week as voted on by the Paste writers and editors. And even though we're getting into the holiday season, peak TV does not take a break, so we have more new shows to talk about, starting with number 10 this week, Reprisal on Hulu.
Reprisal. So I watched the pilot of this, and the jury for me is still out on this one.
I would agree.
It is beautifully shot, very stylish. We were just having a conversation where we have no idea when this is supposed to take place. It could be the 50s with cell phones or, you know.
Some sort of alt-reality.
Alt-reality.
But it's got a very sort of 50s biker slash burlesque slash Mad Men-esque style. It's kind of all over the place, but in a good way artistically, maybe not so much narratively. But
it stars Abigail Spencer, who I love. I think she's a tremendous actor. I'm glad that she's getting leading roles like this. She was wonderful in Rectify. She is very charismatic in this role, but her character, I still don't really understand.
So she stars as a woman whose brother is the head of a gang, and he kills her for reasons we will leave sort of unspoiled, but she didn't actually die, and now she is back for revenge, which is a very cool premise, but still kind of waiting to see how this plays out. Good enough to make the power ranking this week, but we'll see if it remains in the coming weeks.
There's a scene in this show where she grabs somebody and zip ties them up, and I'm thinking, have you ever tried to use the little zip ties? Like, they're hard to get through there, and she's just like whoosh, whoosh.
So we're not sure yet if she's just a super assassin or what exactly is happening, but the zip tie question remains.
It remains. That's what bugs me out of it. That's what stuck with me on this show so far.
You can find that on Hulu. Number 9 this week is Stumptown on ABC, which is a show we've been enjoying since it premiered. This last week got a little spicy. Dex is maybe having a relationship with her friend's girlfriend, and it's getting a little interesting there. So we'll see how that plays out in the coming weeks. If you have not tuned in, it's just a really great weekly procedural that is the sort of the pinnacle of good procedural form for a broadcast show. And it's a lot of fun, and we've enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we have 2 network shows in a row.
Back to back. You'll know what it is if you've been watching the Power Rankings the last few weeks.
It has been on here a few times before, but Evil.
Number 8, Evil on CBS, yeah. Which, again, it's sort of funny because it has turned, we've talked about what sort of a surprisingly scary show it has become, and that it airing on CBS is a very bizarre thing in a lot of ways. But especially in the last few weeks, they've really honed in on demon hunting. Even though the show is still sort of playing both sides about whether or not demons actually exist, they have like 44 demons that they have to find, and it feels a lot like Supernatural in a way, maybe minus the hokey CG.
Which is not a bad show to feel like.
Not a bad show to feel like.
I'm a Supernatural fan.
It comes from the creators of The Good Wife. There's still some courtroom and legal drama aspects of it that keeps it grounded as far as the consequences of what these exorcisms and the work that they're doing with these demonic possessions might actually have. So a really interesting show. Again, surprise, it's on CBS, but we are really enjoying it. Number 7 this week is Castle Rock on Hulu, which, Josh, you said there's a big reveal this week.
Yeah, not without spoiling anything. This week was the first time. So season 1 was a standalone. Season 2 felt like it was a standalone until this episode, which is the penultimate episode of the season. We've got the finale coming up. And this one tied seasons 1 and 2 together in an unexpected way that was very interesting. And the stakes are huge. It's gotten a little bit bigger in scope than we've seen on the show. And it has really been an enjoyable show this season. As far as television horror goes, there are scary moments on it, but it's really just great supernatural storytelling
It's not getting enough buzz, I feel like.
It's not gotten a lot of buzz. I mean, I don't know. That's a product of being on Hulu. A lot of people have Hulu, but this is a show that if you like horror at all, this is from Stephen King, very much worth checking out.
Number 6 this week is The Crown on Netflix. We've gushed about this show before. Of course, it remains fantastic, and we just published our list of the 25 best episodes of the year. Number 1 being from The Crown, Aberfan, which deals with a terrible coal mining disaster in Wales, and it really is one of the most nuanced, beautifully performed episodes of the year. I mean, by far, it just blows everything out.
So the best episodes of the year list, that's always an interesting one because that's a very different thing than a great TV show. Sometimes these shows can just pull out something very specific moment, something that feels very special. How did you feel about this year's list?
I'm really excited. I mean, I think we have a lot of variety, and it's interesting too because Netflix getting the #1 spot is surprising because we talk a lot about the Netflix and the binge culture not being episodic, but The Crown is something that definitely goes against that and does have really great episodes that you remember as episodes, not just, oh, this happened sometime during some season I can't remember, but it was all great. But
yeah, it's harder when you don't have that full week to have everybody talking about that specific episode around the proverbial water cooler.
And it was really tough for a lot of shows that we've liked, like Dark Crystal and Succession and others, where we just picked one episode from the new seasons, but that was really tough. But there were always...
You didn't put all 6 or 8 Dark Crystals?
It's just all Succession and Dark Crystal. That's the entire list. No, we really looked for which ones were the standouts. And yeah, it's a pretty good list. I say I curated it, so I might be a little biased. Number 5 this week is The L Word on Showtime. It's back. It has a new title, Generation Q. And
every show is coming back.
Every show is coming back.
If there was a show that you loved as a child, don't worry, you'll get your turn.
If you're a child, you shouldn't watch The L Word, though. I would say it's not for you. But it's bringing back 3 characters from the original series. Catherine Moning as Shane, Jennifer Beals as Bet, and Leisha Hadley as Alice, and joined by a new cast of characters as well. So a little old, a little new, but I think that, The L Word was groundbreaking in so many ways, and I think that its showrunner, Eileen Chaikin, who is not the showrunner of the new series. It's a different woman running the show, but they learned a lot from the original series, and I think that's going to carry over into this new one quite a bit. And we have an interview with Jennifer Beals on the site on pacemagazine.com if you want to read more about her thoughts on the new season and sort of what it's bringing in terms of visibility. So yeah, definitely, if you were a fan of The L Word, you got to come back and see what Shane and Alice and Bet are up to. Number 4 this week is Watchmen on HBO, which is also its penultimate episode.
Yes,
is that right?
Only one episode left. And again, things are coming to a head. This is a show that was meant to be a self-contained season. No word yet if that is really going to be the end, but it'll be the end of this story. And this story, the arc and its continuation from the original graphic novel, and the stories that were told there has been spectacular. Every episode just feels like it's building this world in a new and layered way. And again, another big twist this week where things that you didn't expect are happening. A very big reveal that has led us to the whole storyline coming to a head in this coming episode, and I'm dying to see how it all comes together.
Damon Lindelof is very good with twists, not as good with finales. So we'll see if he
sticks the landing, which we always say is difficult. We'll see if he sticks it this time.
We will find out next week. Number 3 is Silicon Valley, which had its series finale, and it
did stick the landing.
It did stick the landing. It was very true to the show, and it was, again, we've talked about in the past that Silicon Valley has sort of been faulted for its formula. It's very repetitive, but at the same time, it works, and the finale just ratcheted that up to the ultimate in cringe and sort of anticipation of what might happen. The anxiety of the fact that these guys started out, with that very typical tech speak of, trying to make the world a better place, and in fact created something that will destroy the world. So it's then a question of how they pull back on that and try to not destroy humanity.
Really, it's been years and years of just exploring tethics, I think is what...
It's all about tethics.
At the end of the day. At the end of the day, it really was about tethics, about what the ethical ramifications of technology and the rapid changing technology that we have, and the ways that they want to build something new and create, and just really what the real world ramifications of that could be.
And it's really one of the only
funny
satires of the tech industry, the only sort of dissent that we have. So I'm hoping that another show will come and take its place. And like the Veep finale, it did give us a 10 years later look at where all the guys and Monica end up, which was really fun, I think. And
it did feel very much like the Veep finale, and which I thought was a good thing.
It was also great, yeah. One of our best episodes of the year.
Yeah,
There you go.
There you go.
Number 2 this week is The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. This show, it's interesting. Everyone was so into it because of, the Baby Yoda of it all.
The Baby Yoda show.
People have cooled a bit. And I think that, honestly, if it wasn't Star Wars, people would be really obsessed with it because it's doing something that no other show is really doing right now. It's very episodic. It's almost like The Rifleman or something. Just these 30-minute little Western vignettes plus a Baby Yoda.
Very archetypal stories.
Yeah.
Each episode, it feels like an old Western or an old samurai film just in 40 minutes. But with futuristic, or I guess long time ago characters in this universe that we've come to love.
And with a lot of bizarre, not necessarily bizarre, but sometimes bizarre celebrity cameos where it's like this week on the Baby Yoda show, Amy Sedaris, Ming-Na Wen, it's just kind of every week and we don't know if they'll be back or not. They just show up and
they have brought
leave.
big names on and they've done a good job of disappearing into their characters. It didn't feel like this was, Strangers with Candy, Amy Sedaris.
Like they walk in, the audience applause,
Yeah.
like it's Amy Sedaris.
Yeah.
Holding a Baby Yoda. So but Baby Yoda remains a very important part of The Mandalorian. But honestly, the story around it has also been really, really fun.
I made the point on Twitter the other day that this is the saddest show on television because at the end of every episode, somebody's got to say goodbye to Baby Yoda, and that just feels wrong.
It does.
It does.
And we shall see it. And it only has 2 more episodes as well. It's a short first season, only 8.
It's a very short first season.
Catch up if you have not. Number 1 this week is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon. It's back for season 3. It's one of
like a warm blanket. It's just such a comfortable, silly, fun
gorgeously
show.
produced, fantastic cast. This season feels a little bit like a response to some of the criticism the show has had in the past, and creator Amy Sherman-Palladino seems to be addressing that. There are a lot more storylines with people of color. The sort of the wealth fantasia has taken on a little bit of a different tenor. They're sort of backing away from that a little bit, or actually addressing it. Midge is spending a little more time with her kids than she has. She's remembered that she has children.
She's a mom, yeah.
So it's it's really fun. It's a show that is comfort TV, I think, in a lot of ways, and but just visually so sumptuous and fantastic to watch.
It is, and it's also just so funny.
It is very funny.
She's so funny whenever she's on stage, actually performing comedy. It's wonderful just to watch. And then, Tony Shalhoub, whenever he's on screen, is fantastic as her father.
Alex Bornstein, hysterical as Susie. I mean,
yes.
Maren Hinkle. I mean, everyone is absolutely hysterical. And they are able to handle that super, super whip-fast dialogue with aplomb. And Rachel Brosnahan, though, especially when she's doing the stand-up sets, is just, I don't know, in her element.
But it does feel like this is Amy Sherman-Palladino taking everything that she's learned on other shows and putting together in something that is just so very well done and enjoyable.
Yeah, it really is.
Entertaining. It is entertaining.
It is entertaining. And I think that sometimes when you talk about like prestige TV, entertainment does not come into the picture. It's like, but is it serious? Is it important? Well, sometimes TV can actually be fun. Don't forget. So what can we say?
Sometimes we just want to escape to the 1960s world of upper middle class Jewish families.
Sometimes it's just nice to pretend that you're rich.
It is.
That's what watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is like. It brings us a little bit of joy. That's it for us this week. Join us next week at our studio here in Atlanta, and we will be counting down the top 10 shows.